Welcome to the Vibrant You Health Show with your host, Blake Bars. At Nature's Pantry, our mission is to lead you to vibrant health through the best nutrition, supplementation, service, expertise, and healthy choices. In this show, we aren't interested in fads or quick fixes. Rather, we want to get into the holistic fundamentals of health. We want to answer questions like, what are the underlying causes to health issues, and what solutions can help lead us to vibrant health? You can watch every episode and listen to the podcast by visiting our website at naturespantry.life. The Vibrant You Health Show is brought to you by Terry Naturally Vitamins and Solar Ray Vitamins. At Nature's Pantry, we strive to work only with companies that maintain the highest standards for quality and efficacy. Terry Naturally and Solar Ray are two of the absolute best.
3, 2, 1.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to episode 52 of the Vibrant You Health Show. I am so excited and honored to have my good friend, Tim James, the founder of Chemical Free Body and the founder of the Health Hero Show.
We actually changed it, Blake. So it's now called Tim James Unleashed.
Tim James Unleashed. Oh, cool. Oh, nice. Change yourself, change your world. I love that.
Yeah, people were looking for me. They couldn't remember Health Hero Show. They were looking for Tim James, so we just changed the name, make it easier for people.
Oh, that's cool. I actually really like that logo. That's sharp. So, Tim, thank you so much for joining me today for a little chat about detox.
Hey, my pleasure. Excited to share with people, especially for the challengers.
Absolutely. So, for those of you that don't know who are just watching the show, we're actually in the middle of a Vibrant You Health Challenge. This is our 10th edition of the challenge, and we've just been so blessed to get to be a part of this and just learning how small habits lead to big change over time. And if you want to learn more about the health challenge, you can visit naturespantry.life or visit the store here in La Grande.
Yeah.
So, Tim, okay, let's talk about detox. So, I want to talk about two fundamentals that the mainstream medical system doesn't teach and doesn't talk about, yet are so fundamentally important to health. It's almost amazes me that this is not a topic of discussion. But can you tell me a little bit about why you believe that nutrition and detoxification are two sides of the same coin?
Okay. Yeah, it's. I'm going to give you a bigger answer, which is fine because that's what the format's for, right? So,
Yeah.
Knowing what I know now, after 13 years of doing all kinds of detoxing, and believe me, when I first was introduced to this stuff, my health was a mess. I was overweight, 42 pounds. I was pooping blood. That's why I have that shirt that says "Love when you poop" because it used to be a very painful process for me. I had acid reflux, really bad skin issues, tired, all the stuff that most people have nowadays. Hopefully not the rectal bleeding that I had. That was really not cool. But come to find out, a lot of people are. A lot of people do have that. So how did I get in that shape? Like, how's that even possible? Like, what's going on? Because out in nature, you pretty much have healthy animals. And if something's not born like correctly or whatever, it just dies. And it's just evolution, like, right? And it's this stronger and stronger and stronger. That's how we evolve, right? It's part of that evolutionary thing. So how did human beings, here we are, we have all this modern technology, right? And we're supposedly leading the world in medicine, yet we're the sickest that human beings have ever been on the face of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really good question to ask. So how do we fundamentally get here? Well, we have to understand the first thing is that we have separated ourselves from nature. And that's where the problems begin. And if we're looking at the big picture, we're looking at God and nature. It's all one and the same, and you are part of nature. Like your gut microbiome is the same bacterium that are in the soil microbiome. Many of them. We're made of water. You find water on planet Earth.
You were made, and out of the dust you will return.
Yeah, our bones are made of minerals, and when we die, we're supposed to, go back in the soil and be part of the cycle of life. But now they throw us in concrete coffins forever. It's stupid. So that's just my opinion. But like, I want to just be thrown on. Just throw me in the dirt, right? When I'm done, I want to go right back in God's plan. And so the reality here for me then is like, if we have to stop for a moment as adults, especially for those of us that are raising children in this modern, polluted, crazy, stressed out world, and say, okay, I got to learn, why is that? Why are we the sickest people that have ever walked the face of the earth with all this modern advancement?
Mhm.
And I would say that again, it's the being divorced from
Yeah.
nature. It's like the separation from God, separation from nature. That is the biggest problem right there.
Right.
Okay, and so what's happened is it's gotten worse and worse and worse and worse over the decades. So let's go back to 1964 when there was a university. They did a study. They weighed 1 square acre of these soil bacterium that are growing in the soil, right? Nature put there, God put there,
Yeah.
that take care of and grow and keep the plants strong and robust. It's part of the plant's immune system.
Right.
Just like the gut microbiome that everybody knows about, and taking probiotics is part of our immune system. These ancient bacteria have been here for billions of years. They are working symbiotically with us in our gut, and the plants, they're working symbiotically in the soil. It's the plant gut, basically, right? It's just outside of them where it looks like it's inside of us. Well, they weighed that, all those microbiome, all those bacterium in that 1 acre of soil in 1964, 2,200 pounds, about a ton, 1 ton. Fast forward 40 years, they went out and weighed, another university, weighed the bacterium in 1 acre of soil. Guess what they found? They found about 100 pounds, 100 only pounds. And some of those were genetically modified bacterium. So when you look at fundamentally at the root of the issue is literally in the soil. Okay. And this is where a lot of all of our problems are stemming from. So if you have food that is now grown in these deficient soils to the tune of 85% of the nutrients are now gone from the soil. And as you can tell, I mean, it's like less than 5% of the plant's immune system to grow strong is there. That's the microbiome, right? The soil microbiome.
Right.
You have weak plants. So chemical companies have taught farmers, oh, spray pesticides, spray herbicides. Oh, I have, fungicides. I have a fungus problem. Um, Larvicides, chemical fertilizers, chemical, 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 chemical. This goes back a long time ago. If you go back after, World War II, the 1960s, these chemical companies, after making Agent Orange and Agent Purple and stuff like that, they had to stay in business. They started making these chemical fertilizers and stuff like that. And then they would have like, reps go out and talk to the farmers and say, hey, here's, I have a barbecue chicken feed. And then they bring the farmers over and spray this on a little strip of your crop and watch what happens. And well, oh my goodness, the grass or the alfalfa would grow tall and green. They're like, oh my God, I want to put this on my whole crop. What they didn't realize is that they were starting to slowly destroy the soil, the matrix, the infrastructure of growing plants, period, end of story. Right. And back then farmers were tilling too, and they didn't know any better. We tilled when I was growing up. So I mean, we didn't know. We just thought that's what you did. But when you till, you're also killing that soil microbiome.
Right.
Right. So why am I talking about the soil microbiome so much when we're talking about detoxification? Because it's fundamental that we have to restore the microbiome in our digestive tract.
Right.
Now, to do this, you have to start consuming highly dense fresh foods that are grown in rich, nutrient dense soils full of microbiome. And then also, and then you'll start, you'll stop killing yours. That's number one, because if you're eating foods that are conventionally grown, you're literally going down to the grocery store and paying for poison.
Right.
And this is not like tongue in cheek. Like 4,300 people a day in the United States die of processed foods. 4,300 per day die. 9/11, 2,996 people died on that day. Shockwaves around the world. Everybody probably remembers where they were when that happened. But did you remember where you were right now? Yesterday, the day before that? Because, 4,300 people died of processed foods. So we're literally walking into the grocery store, pulling out our wallets, and slowly killing ourselves. And so we have to bring awareness to this.
Right.
And by giving this awareness, some people are going to be like, oh, I don't want to do that anymore. And they start buying better quality foods. They start buying local. They start shopping at their local CSAs and nature's pantries and places like this that all the produce is organic and there's none of that A-peel stuff. You don't have to think about it because Blake is a guardian of the foods that come in, right? Yep. And so in local farms and farmers markets and growing your own food and growing your own sprouts and growing your own herbs and getting your own gardens, all these are the things that are going to heal you of all your problems.
Right.
So that would be one big step, right? Because as you start purchasing these naturally healthy products that are not sprayed, two things are happening. You're nutrifying the body, and
Right.
at the same time, you're stopping the toxic load that you're dumping in on a daily basis through the foods that you were consuming,
Right.
right?
Yeah, and
So,
I think this is sorry, let me jump in here. I just wanted to add to that because I think this is a really profound point. And do we, the saying, we are what we eat? Well, do we really believe that? And what's funny is how disconnected we've become from that. And you talk about become disconnected from nature. We're disconnected from our own bodies. We don't even you think about it, your body is being remade constantly from the things you put in your body. So our skin is regenerating rapidly, our liver, our organs, everything that we make, every organ, every tissue, every cell of the body is being remade by what we put in. So, are you putting in toxins? Because your body's going to be dealing with that. That's what you're going to be made of. Or are you putting in nutrition? Because that's what your body's going to be made of. You're going to put in high quality nutrition, right? So, why is like a
well,
heart?
let's talk about why it's so hard now.
Right.
Why is it so hard to change for people? And here's some of the reasons. Okay, you have long now. 85% of the nutrition is gone from the soil. It's gone. Okay, and your cells still want it, and they're not getting it. So they're sending you signals. Blake, go eat. Tommy, go eat. Tim, go eat. Sally, go eat. And you do, but you're eating nutrient deficient foods grown in soils that have literally been raped. There's 5% of the soil microbiome, the immune system of the plant to keep it strong, sprayed with a bunch of chemicals, and you're consuming this stuff. So what ends up happening, you're lowered your immune system, you become weak, and you eat and you eat and you eat. So you're eating these foods. Now let's go to the commercial end of things. After you take these denatured foods, then they take them into process them. Remember, I just said 4,300 people per day are dying of processed foods.
Mhm.
Now they're being processed. They're already bad enough. Okay. Just ate them the way they were out of the soil is bad enough. All the sprays and the crap, deficient. Now they process them, denature them more, and spray more chemicals on them. Children's cereal, perfect example. Vitamin enriched. It should say sprayed with toxic cancer causing chemicals because that's
Right.
exactly what it's doing. Sprayed with chemicals that cause developmental and brain disorders in your child. That's
Right.
what it should say on almost all these children's cereals.
Yeah.
Nobody in their right mind would buy it, but that's exactly what they are. That's
Right.
exactly what they are. There's no more beating around the bush around this because our children are now dying younger than us. Our
Right.
life expectancy is dropping like a rock. So when you have long-term nutrient deficiencies and you have this toxic buildup in the cells, in the blood, in the
Mhm.
fat, and the muscle tissue, and
Right.
anybody, I challenge anybody, don't believe me, just type in these three little words, umbilical cord chemical, into your browser and hit search, umbilical cord chemical. And you go search and you'll find the same studies that I found 12 years ago that show, there's a 2005 study that shows they look for 400 toxic chemicals in the womb of these young babies and children and mothers, and they find 250 of what they're looking for. 180 cause cancer in humans, kill you, and 212 cause developmental and brain disorders. Okay, 212. So that was just one study. Every single study you'll read, every single child is polluted in the womb. Okay, so we're killing our kids already. It's dying in the womb. I actually wrote an ebook called "Dying in the Womb" about this, trying to expose this and wake people up. And the older you are, the longer time you've had to bioaccumulate these toxins from the air you breathe, the water you
Right.
drink, the food you eat, the clothing you wear, the shampoos, the toothpaste, the air fresheners, all the stuff in your everything. Okay, it's everywhere, right? And so now we have something crazy going on. We have all these toxins in the body. We have deficiency in nutrients. Our body cells are starving. And so now we go into these commercially processed foods where they spray more chemicals on them, enriched, and do other things to them to hit certain types of synapses and receptors in the brain to get you freaking super addicted to it,
Mm.
like super addicted. Like
Nice.
like sugar's not, sugar's like one molecule off of cocaine. That's very processed sugar, very addictive. Then
Wow.
that's not bad enough. Then they go to corn syrup and high fructose corn syrup, or highly processed with even more chemicals. It's like crack. It's like fentanyl. It's like meth. There's
Right.
no difference. It destroys people's lives. Look around. 2/3 of people are overweight. obese or morbidly obese. I mean, it's bad.
Right.
Like kids' number one killer is cancer, 1 to 16. It's like, what are we doing?
Right.
Right. So here's the problem. Now you're weak. You can't really think that well because you're deficient in nutrients. Like, remember, you're operating on 15%. And then you go out and try to go out there in the marketplace and try to change things or maybe improve your diet and change some foods, but you can't
Right.
find the foods that taste good. Maybe you're not a chef type person. You don't know
Right.
what to read, how to read labels, doing this stuff. You try a little bit, you try some little book you read or this or that. 30 days later, 60 days later, you give up, oh, hell with it, I'm a loser. And you
Yeah.
go right back to where you were and worse.
Right.
Right. When the
Well, yeah.
reality is that what you have to understand these fundamental things.
Right. Right.
Like you're dehydrated,
Yeah.
you need nutrition, and
Yep.
you need to get these chemicals out of you. And more importantly, stop putting them in.
Well, and that's why, Tim, that's why we're doing these health challenges, is because people really know. I think deep down, a lot of people know these principles are right, but the world today makes it so easy to make the wrong choices and so hard to make the right choices. And so we need to come together and we need to encourage one another and support each other and remind each other of what this looks like, right? It's like at Hippocrates that people ask the question, how do you live a crazy way in the real world? And they said, you're asking the wrong question. It's how do you live a real way in a crazy world? And, you mentioned about becoming disconnected from God, disconnected from nature, disconnected, and I would say, I don't think we're evolving personally. That's not my belief. I think we're actually not improving. And I think that's a lie. I think we think that we're improving with technology, but all we're doing is becoming more and more disconnected with life the way God intended. I mean,
Yeah.
we're in a unique situation that the history of the world has never experienced, where we're having to relearn simple, health giving, life preserving things that nobody else had to ever think about, like exercise, fresh air, sunshine,
Just drinking water. Yeah.
clean food. Like you never had to choose between real food and fake food. That all there was real food.
Because that was what your environment was. And so
Right.
this all boils back to environment. You
Mhm.
can go back and go online and Google beaches 1960s,
Yeah.
1950s. Look at the people. Everybody's fit.
Right.
Everybody's right because
Right.
organic food didn't exist yet because everything was organic in the
Right.
50s.
Yeah.
It was just
Exactly.
naturally occurring food. You just picked it and you ate it.
Yeah.
When you start genetically modifying the food, genetically
Yeah.
engineering the food, and spraying the food
Right.
and killing its immune system, the soil, all these
Yeah.
bacteria in the soil, well, of course, you're at the root of the issue. You're
Right.
destroying the fabric of the cycle of life.
Right.
And so
Right.
your life's going to suffer. And then on top of it, now you have these processed foods that are highly addictive. And just to give you guys an example of how bad it is, children's cereal is the easiest one to pick on because it's so terrible. I mean, it's like once you have this information, if you feed your children, I mean, your cereals like this kind of stuff. I mean, if the child goes and gets it and he knows about it, he's a little kid, he probably doesn't know any better. But if you eat it, you're committing suicide, a slow suicide. But what are you doing when you feed these types of cancer causing brain develop mishap type of chemicals and stuff to your children? Aren't you part of a murder? Aren't you slowly killing your kid? I mean, let's wake up and look at what reality is. Okay. So it sucks because people are like frazzled. They don't feel good. They don't have good self esteem. And it's because it's like they're putting crappy fuel in the car and the
Right.
car's it's all gummed up. It's not, if you feel bad, when you're in pain, you don't feel like doing anything.
Right.
So we have to start freshening up. We have to detox. That's what this class is about. That's what I'm getting to. And it's even deeper because I'm starting to go into the bigger part, which is the emotions. Right. So
Right.
now we have emotions attached to these foods. Food is
Yeah.
the biggest addiction out there right
Right.
now. These processed foods.
Right.
This is like, oh well, I don't drink booze because my dad was an alcoholic and he beat us kids and he beat my mom. Okay, that's a great thing. But instead of having alcohol, now you're having pizza, pasta, pastries, anything that's processed. It's the same thing. There is no difference. It's these things are killing people, but the advertising is amazing. They put young, fit people drinking some
Right.
Michelob Lights or something on
Right.
the
When you're
beach, and
20, you aren't feeling
they're
consequences
happy and
of
stuff
this
like
yet,
that. But everybody, look at all the people. Go to the bar and see what people look like that are drinking beers.
Right.
They're overweight. They're not happy. They're unfulfilled. They have emotional issues. and they're just drowning themselves in their sorrows. And that's how wife beater t-shirts came out of, was from alcohol, right? It is a
Tim,
drug, and these processed foods are drugs. So let's just be clear about that.
yeah, Tim, I want to get into a little later, the spiritual, emotional, mental. But first, I wanted to touch on something you were talking about, and that's the detox at the cellular level. And for one, we
Okay.
talked about how the cellular level, what nutrition we're putting in there. There you are, right? So when your cells, and I want you to elaborate on this, but when your cells are full of nutrients, there is a natural barrier to toxins. But once you're deficient in nutrients, now your cells will take the toxins readily. And once the cells take the toxins, the nutrients will just bounce off the cell. It won't take it until you flood the body with nutrients. And once you flood the body with nutrients, now it will take it and let go of the toxin. And this is why cancer therapies that Max Gerson developed by flooding the body with fresh vegetable juices was how he treated that. And then helping the body detox, because what he found by flooding the body with nutrients, people started detoxing so fast that they got sick. So that's why he had to aid the body's detox process with enemas and things like that. But and so and also like hot springs, we're getting in a hot spring with sulfur. So you're the same receptors in the cell that will take healthy minerals like sulfur will also take toxic heavy metals like mercury. And
Mhm.
so if we get into a sulfur bath, we're getting so much sulfur that it's flooding the body with the nutrient that it'll let go. This is why those natural hot springs are good for detox. So tell me a little bit about cellular detox and kind of what you're learning about it and maybe some of the things you're applying in your life.
Okay. So obviously, you look at the umbilical cord studies, it's parent, right? If they're finding all these chemicals in the blood serum, but you have to understand that if you look into the fat and the muscle tissue, it's 500 to 1,000 times, or excuse me, 500 to 1,000% higher concentrations of these chemicals. You can't see them, but they are killing you. And I've worked with 700 people one-on-one, personally in coaching over the last, 9, 10 plus years. I've been on this journey 13 years. And pretty much every one of them, we stop putting the chemicals in and they start feeling better.
Hmm.
And then we start the detoxification process. And we do it gently and we meet people where they're at. Because a lot of these people are working, like you say, like when we went to the Institute, we had nothing else to do. So we went full tilt,
Right.
right? And I didn't feel good for about 3, 4 days. I was like, I had headaches, I had night sweats, I had a metallic taste coming out of my mouth and my tongue as my body was exiting heavy metals. I found out that I had extreme heavy metal poisoning, and that's why like one side of my face is kind of sagged. And I don't know if you've ever noticed, but I have kind of a speech impediment. I think it's
Hmm.
from all the heavy metals.
Oh wow.
Um, that I was exposed to because, I don't know, 9 years into my health journey after I thought I detoxed everything, I got into a special far infrared sauna. And all of a sudden, after 2 months for a year, I had piles of this gray stuff in my towel, like these heavy metals coming out. It was unbelievable. Every day, like for a year, it
Wow.
just kept coming out of me. And I was like, oh my God, I was so polluted with heavy metals. And then you take heavy metals and you combine that with electromagnetic frequency, these EMFs. And I was like a tuning fork, just like, because metals are attracting to that. So
Right.
that's like a
Right.
radio
Right.
tower or whatever like that.
Right.
So anyway, on a cellular level, we're completely polluted. And you're right, we have to unlock that. That was one of the reasons why we created that turmeric 100 product, because it goes in and it reduces inflammation right on the surface of the cell to start allowing nutrients to come in and getting toxins out.
Right. Right. Reduce
So
inflammation. And that product is an amazing product that you can find at chemicalfreebody.com and at Nature's Pantry here in La Grande.
yeah, a lot of people take it for back pain and neck pain and joint pain, that stuff, but it was built to help with cellular detoxification and cellular nutrition uptake. So this cellular thing is so important because you're only going to feel as good as your cells. Now, here's something that's really cool. Most people have heard of these things called mitochondria. These are like ancient ancestors of bacterium. They kind of morphed a little bit, but the mitochondria, how it works is so cool. In plants have mitochondria. They're these little organisms that live inside the cell. And they
Right.
do a lot of heavy lifting. And plants breathe in carbon dioxide and they breathe out oxygen. We breathe in oxygen, we breathe out carbon dioxide.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like ants and aphids. It's another system, right? It's so amazing.
Yeah.
And the bacterium are there. these inside the plant, it takes two carbon dioxide molecules and it sandwiches the light energy from the sun in between them and traps the light. And then it's there. That's called
Wow.
photosynthesis,
That's so
right?
cool.
Pretty amazing stuff. And then plants you see them sun, soil, and water, and they just grow and they start trapping the heat, the energy from the sun. This is why when you cut down like a lodgepole or a red fir or a tamarack and you cut it into firewood, then you light it on fire and burn it, what's happening? You're releasing the sun's stored light energy from that tree. That's what's happening. You can do the same thing with living foods and plants, sprouts and sprouted nuts and seeds and grains and beans, all sprouted. You're actually going to transfer these foods. So what ends up happening is we eat the food and we take it in, but we have no mechanism. There is no human cell that has the mechanism to break those two carbon dioxide bonds and release the energy, to release the biophoton, the sun's energy, the light. Because somebody told me a long time ago I was a living light being, and I thought they were all woo woo, but they are completely true. We're made of light. It's unbelievable, actually. So inside of our cells are our mitochondria, our little powerhouses. They break the bond, they release the light.
Wow.
This is where all the energy comes from. And so the more light that our cells can produce, the more it's going to burn out stuff. It's just going to be, you're going to be healthy, you're going to be more vibrant, you're going to have a shield up. Like you have this electron shield. That's why I love enzymes, because they create that electron shield in and around the cell, right? To protect you from free radical damage. This is another way of looking at it through the light spectrum side of things at a deeper level with mitochondria. So anyway, this is really cool. I'm just super stoked about it. So our goal then should be able to put foods into our body that are going to release the most light. That's it. To release the most light. And by doing this, we can also burn out disease, right? So cellular detoxification, let's give some people some steps.
Yeah.
The very first thing that you can do is take action. That's number one. You get this awareness and you take action. Now you got to do something. You'll figure it out, whether it's the right action or not. Today, we're going to give you hopefully some right action.
Yeah.
And you'll get some results. The first thing I'd recommend is 95% of people are not drinking enough water.
Yep.
And what water they are drinking is not good.
Yep.
So get purified water in your body and do half your body weight in liquid ounces daily.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, I mean, it's so important.
Yeah, if you're a 100-pound person, that's 50 ounces. If you're 200 pounds, that's 100 ounces.
Yep.
I had one gal, Carol, who came to a detox class years ago, and 8 months later showed up at another one, but I didn't recognize her. She was in the front row at a yoga studio. I was teaching a class, and I kept looking at this lady going, God, I know her, but she looked different or something. I'm like, I couldn't put my finger on who she was. And finally, I'm like, excuse me. I mean, the class was just about getting ready to start. There's about 30 people in there or so, and 40. And I was like, hey, do I know you? And she's like, well, yeah. She goes, I was at your class 8 months ago at your house. And I was like, oh, yeah. I was like, dude, I knew it. I said, but you look different for some reason. She goes, well, I hope you notice I've lost 50 pounds. And I was like, whoa, you did? You know, I was brand new at this stuff. And you should have started, everybody in the class was like listening now, right? Because everybody wants to lose weight. And I go, what'd you do? And she's like, well, you threw up all this information. I wrote as much notes as I could, but she goes, I just tried one thing. And she goes, I just started drinking water in the morning instead of coffee. And I put the lemon in it, like you said. And then I made sure to rinse my mouth out afterwards with plain water. So the lemon didn't, eat the enamel on my teeth, because I knew I was going to do it every day. And she did. That's all she did, dude. She just focused on drinking water. Dude, she dropped 50 pounds in 8 months. She changed nothing else. So I go, well, you had all these results. That's why she came to the class. I go, what are you coming back for? She's like, I'm here for number 2. What's next? And I said, okay, write this down. Chew your food until liquefied.
Okay.
And then I started the class right there.
Yeah.
I started, because everybody was paying attention. I said, you're going to chew. And I said, everybody here needs to chew. Obviously you heard what she said. I repeat it. We're drinking lots of water. Now we're going to start chewing our food really well. We're going to start breaking it down to that liquid form so it can get into the cells.
Yep.
And make it much easier on the digestive tract, so we're not burning up all this energy just processing our foods in our gut. Chew the heck out of your food. Anyway, so I taught her that, and then down the road. So these are things you can do. Drink your water.
Yeah.
Chew your food very well so you can get digestion and absorption of nutrients. This is the first domino in digestion, and you need to digest your food.
Yeah.
Number 3 is avoid liquids with meals. Do not drink liquids with meals. Maybe a little bit if you feel like you have to in the beginning, okay?
Yeah.
But the reason why is because you work so hard chewing your food to load the food with all these enzymes that are going to digest your food now in your stomach. lipase, amylase, to name a couple. They go down in your stomach, these enzymes, they break down your food. And I know in your stomach you have substances like pepsin and hydrochloric acid that break down the proteins, but most of the things you should be eating are, healthy carbohydrates and fats, a little bit of protein, very small amount. It's contrary to everything everybody says. But I'm 51 years old. I'm healthier than I've ever been, and I've done all the diets. Okay. I worked with personal trainers. I did the personal training diet, the food and stuff. You might be able to look good on the outside, but many of these people are now my clients, and they're destroyed on the inside, and they're not happy, and they feel like frauds. A lot of them in the health industry because they don't feel good, right? They just don't feel good, so they're not really promoting health. True health is you wake up and you feel amazing every day, and you feel good about yourself, and you love yourself, and you contribute to you're able to have the energy, and you're not in pain, and you contribute to friends and family. Right. So water, chew food, avoid liquids with meals. And then the fourth one was do a little breath work before you eat to calm down your nervous system. Those are 4 things we call our core 4 secrets. I have an ebook on this at our website. When you go there, if you're new, you can click it and get it for free, and $10 gift card and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But these are some basic things that you can do to detox. And then after that, once you get you're going to see just from those 1, 2, or 3 or 4 things that you stack together, you're going to start feeling better. You're going to have more energy. And then you're going to be like, okay, what's next? And you can slowly baby step yourself into this, especially if you have all these emotional baggage now that you're carrying around because of the denatured foods, the soils that have been ripped off, and all the chemicals that are in your body. And it's throwing off your mind, and it's screwing up your gut. And your gut really is the main brain.
Yep. Yeah, that's right. And Tim, these simple principles are so true. And, you work on those simple things and those free things. We're taught to believe that health is so expensive and it comes from medical technology and advancement when really some of the best things that God gave us are free. And some of them are these simple things like drinking water, chewing your food. Like, when was the last time you went to a doctor who told you to chew your food, make sure and chew your food? Like simple things, right? Breathing, Tim, that's so important. We actually detox through our exhalation. Again, nutrition, sauna. I know, Tim, you're really big on the infrared saunas. And
I just got a red light and near infrared light therapy device too. I started doing that too. I added that into my routine. I love it. So far infrared saunas are very, very important. What's that?
Do you still, can I get one of those from you, or do you sell them on your website?
The red light or the saunas?
Both.
Well, we don't have the red lights online yet. We will.
Okay.
I think I've been testing them. I like this one the best. But the saunas, just go to our website at chemicalfreebody.com, click shop, and then click Tim's favorites. And under there, you'll see the relaxed saunas. Those are like 2 to 3 times better than all the other saunas. And I literally was a sauna dealer for 10 years for Clearlight brand, which was a good sauna, but they're not like this.
And I will put all this information, all these tips and the info so you can get to the saunas or anything else you're interested in a flyer that I'll publish with this show on the page of the show on the naturespantry.life under the health show tab.
Well, and the saunas are great too because you buy it and then it's passive. All you got to do is get in it.
Yeah.
Turn it on. And then you can meditate, you can read a book, you can listen to music, you can really calm your nervous system and believe me, you will. They call it a relaxed sauna for a reason. When you come out, you feel relaxed. It literally, I don't care how stressed out you are, it will grab you by the back of the neck and put you into rest and digest mode, and it will calm your nervous system. It will detoxify. It will improve your skin. It will do, it's just so many things. I mean, mood, sleep improves, everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, it's Nicole Haggerty, your holistic health and fitness coach. If you want to improve your health and life and get lasting results, you have to be the change you want to see. Let me help you be that change. Find me at NicoleHaggerty.com.
Hey, Eastern Oregon. My name is Justin Hernandez. I specialize in sports performance training for middle school, high school, and college athletes. My program goal is to optimize an athlete's potential on all playing surfaces. The Breakfast Club motto is creating elite athletes, but even better leaders.
This is Summer Steele of Body Seorsa. I am a licensed massage therapist and certified personal trainer. I work with bodies of all shapes, sizes, and abilities to help them live a fuller and freer life. Connect with me on Instagram and Facebook under Body Saorsa, Body SAORSA, or contact me at 541-786-5245.
My name is Blake Bars, and I'm General Manager of Nature's Pantry here in La Grande. I had a terribly unhealthy lifestyle when I started working here. I just didn't know how simple and powerful healthy habits could be. Now I love being able to lead others to vibrant health here at the store, through the health show, and in the health challenges we host twice per year. Learn more at naturespantry.life.
Hey friends, Lacey here with Wild Holistic Nutrition and Fitness. As a certified personal trainer and holistic nutritionist with 17 years of experience, I'm passionate about guiding others in their journey to wellness. I work in the areas of sports performance, group and individual fitness, personal training, behavioral and nutritional coaching, and gut biome health and assessment. I'd love to help you feel good so that you can thrive and meet the purpose you were made for.
Tim James here, founder of ChemicalFreeBody.com and host of the Health Hero Show. After regaining my own health and having massive gut issues and surgery, I'm on a mission to help others do the same. If you're ready to make your health a priority, lose that weight, increase your energy, and just wake up and feel good, you can reach me at ChemicalFreeBody.com.
Well, let's talk just briefly. I think it's so important to understand the physical parts of detox. And, the thing about it is I think a lot of people want like a 3-day detox or a 14-day plan where they can just, focus and like clear the body of all these toxins. And like you and I have talked about, you told me like we're always detoxing. Like our whole lifestyle, our diet and lifestyle is built around getting the right things in and getting the wrong things out, and avoiding the wrong things when possible, and supporting the body's ability to naturally detox, because our bodies were designed to get rid of toxins. And we have some miraculous, amazing, fearfully and wonderfully made systems for detoxing, like your going poop. I mean, this is your main detox pathway, and it's so important. If you're going to detox, you got to start with a colon cleanse. You need to make sure things are moving, because this is the bottom of the funnel, right? If your detox system is a funnel, and everything from your lymph system to your lungs to your blood to your kidneys, everything down, the colon is the bottom of the funnel. So everything's dumping into there. So we need to make sure that's moving. If that's not moving, if you're constipated, toxins are not being removed. Toxins are staying in the system and getting recirculated in the blood and putting extra burden on all body systems. And so definitely the colon, number one. Then we work on liver is a good one to work on.
Let's stop on the colon for a second.
Yeah.
Just for anybody that's new, you have to understand that the average person has 6 to 12 pounds of this impacted fecal material in the 5 to 7 foot colon.
Yeah.
Like, think about that. 6 to 12 pounds. When I got my first colon hydrotherapy, which is a water therapy rectally, that water gently went in and out of my rear end for an hour, I dropped 11 pounds. And the record at the Institute was one lady up. They've been in business now 70 some years, but in 2011, when I went there, they were like 60, 61 years in business. The lady dropped 27 pounds in one 1 hour session.
Oh my goodness. Hey, so there isn't any, like, Tri-Cities is the closest place. I'd love to see
There's one in Boise too.
Okay. I'd love to see us.
David DeHaas is the owner in Boise. He's really awesome.
If anybody is interested in getting one started in La Grande, please contact me. I would love to talk to you about it.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
One hydrocolon therapy is equivalent to 12 enemas, and a lot easier and less time. Enemas are pretty easy. It's just getting in the habit of it.
Well, a lot of people. I have a cancer patient right now. He's got pancreatic cancer already in his liver, and he needs to be doing coffee enemas twice a day.
Yeah,
twice a day, every day. And then we actually do an extra thing. We followed up with a wheatgrass implant.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll use the coffee lukewarm. Obviously, it's not moldy garbage coffee. This is shade grown, highly alcohol. Yeah, it's really good stuff.
Yeah,
and each batch is tested for purity. We make sure there's no pesticides in there. And it goes up. See, in your colon, there's this thing called the hepatic vein that goes directly to the liver. It's a direct feed. So when you put coffee in the colon or anything in there, basically, it goes whoop up that hepatic vein in like 2 seconds, and it starts detoxing the liver and assisting it.
Yeah.
Right. And
the
so
caffeine.
afterwards, people were like, "Oh," but some doctors will say you're you're destroying the gut microbiome by doing that in the colon. Well, that's true a little bit. But the reality is like you're so messed up, we got to get some cleaning done. That's why we do a wheatgrass implant afterwards to recolonize those bacterium.
Yeah.
Right. And if I don't have access to that, like I'll use my probiotic prebiotic mix and a scoop of green 85. I shake it up and I'll implant that.
Right.
And just do that.
Yeah. Yep. And we actually have some of those. They're actually, most of them, they're ozonated. They're suppositories. And we have a probiotic suppository as well.
Awesome. Yeah. So it's really important to get the livers. It's kind of a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And then once you get, then the liver, that's so important. But we'll put some tips on the flyer for that. But also then we go after parasites, and then heavy metals. And then, we can talk about the blood, and we can talk about, the lymphatic
Yeah.
system.
So, and here's the thing is like, don't get overwhelmed with all these things you have to do. Get excited because if you feel like garbage, there is a pathway on the way out.
Yeah. Right.
There's a pathway out of this. You don't have to be stuck in here forever. You can like slowly learn this stuff, get one thing into your lifestyle. Oh, that works. I feel better. Then you add the next thing and you add the next thing. And you don't have to give up anything. All these things will just give you up.
Right.
Foods that used to be cravings will just go away. You won't want it anymore because you'll go back and eat it. You feel like crap. Then you try it 1 or 2 more times. You feel like crap. Finally, like, I just don't want it anymore.
Right.
This is how you do it. It's like, the cold turkey thing is almost impossible for most people unless you get cancer diagnosis. And then some of those people, not all of them, will change their entire lifestyle because their back's against the wall and they got a gun to their head. But even people with cancer, I dumbfounds me like with this information that's out there, and they're just like, nope, I ain't doing it. Like I kind of want to enjoy my ice cream and eat this. And I'm like, okay, well, that's your choice. That's a valid choice. It's your experience you're going through here. What am I to say?
Right. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, did you know that the vanilla flavoring in ice cream, and I think it's vanilla for sure, the strawberries, they get that from the anal glands of beavers. So think about that the next time you're slurping up your vanilla ice cream cone.
Natural flavors for you.
Beaver anus juice. That's where it comes from. Look it up. They have farms. They harvest this stuff. It's no joke.
Oh my goodness.
That's where we're at today.
Yeah.
Forget going and get a vanilla bean. Let's use beaver anus.
Right. That sounds better.
Look it up. I want people to look that up. Look up umbilical cord chemical and beaver anus juice for vanilla ice cream and strawberry ice cream. It's great. Or raspberry too. I think it's in raspberry.
Oh my goodness. So yeah, like you were saying,
that's not God's plan. I would never see a human being out there chewing on a beaver's butt as it's alive. That beaver would be like, "Who are you? What are you doing?
This is not natural."
Leave me. Slap you with his tail.
This is not
Get
right.
out of here.
Yeah. What are you, dude? Come on, let's get your we need to get some heavy metals out of your brain because something's going on here.
Yeah, we do.
So yeah, and I think, you don't want to start with heavy metals. You don't want to start with, some of the things. You've got to start with the colon. Okay. Because if that's not working, then we're just going to get stuff backed up and recirculating in the system. Sometimes it's just moving things around and then people get really sick. So we need, that's important to do in the right order. But the physical part of it's really important, right? And the basic premise there that medical schools don't teach, which to me is astounding because it really seems like the fundamental principle of all health, which is nutrify and detoxify. Put the right things in, get the wrong things out. Pretty simple. These are physical.
Well, it's not even a big. Why don't they do it? It's like they're not going to do it because they sell chemicals.
Right.
Big pharma, right, is basically driving medicine now. They write the textbooks. The standard of care is insurance companies.
Right.
So they have a valid choice if they want to go out and create an industry and put chemicals in people. I guarantee nobody has a synthetic chemical deficiency. They do work from time to time for emergency situations. So it's not like you 100% don't do that Western medical stuff.
Right.
I mean, it saved my life when I got a surgery when I had my appendicitis on a vacation in Peru.
Right.
But it's like, it's way too much. It's not even close. We need to eat fresh food and we got to heal our soil and then start loving our family, and loving ourselves, I guess, would be number one.
Right. It's not either or. It's like, let's not throw the whole fundamentals out just because we have this modern technology. Right. And you and I would both agree some of the most amazing people we know are in the healthcare industry. They got into it because they're amazing people who they want to serve people. Some of the nurses I know, they have the hearts of friends.
Oh yeah.
The strength of soldiers. Like they're some of the most amazing people. And trust me, if I get in a car accident and break my leg, take me to the ER. You can keep your damn essential oils. But if when it comes to disease, I'm not necessarily wanting to just throw a Band-Aid on it. I'm wanting to get to the underlying issue.
Hey, when I'm in post-op, I want some lemon essential oil in the diffuser. Maybe some thieves or whatever,
Yeah,
On
I'm
guard.
down. I'm down. So, okay, so yes, so these are physical principles, right? But it's funny how these physical principles that we see in our world and in creation are also mental and spiritual and emotional principles as well. And I think what we put in to our bodies, what we put into our minds, what we put into our hearts, what we put into our souls, this is just as important as what we put into our mouths, right? And I think Jesus said, "It's out of the overflow of the mouth, out of the overflow of the heart, that the mouth speaks." So, what are we putting into our hearts? If we're speaking negativity, if we're speaking hate, if we're speaking bitterness, resentment, um, just complaining, condemning, criticizing, what are we filling our heart up to with that's what's coming out, right?
Yeah.
And so how do we look at our lives, and how do we look at it from mind, body, soul, and look at what do we need to put in and what do we need to avoid and what do we need to get out? There's a
Okay, here, real simple. Don't put man-made chemicals in your body. Only put it in nature. If you start doing those two things and then do some of these detox routines to help speed up the process, and the reason why we shouldn't even have to have this conversation right now, because if we were a completely wild nature 200 years ago, nobody had any of these problems.
right,
It's just like it was like less than 1-2% of the population even had cancer.
right,
Like I said, there are genetic things, and people have genetic mutations in certain things that are physical, right?
right,
Like a little heart malformations. That's going to happen.
sure.
That's part of this whole process. Like something got off, right?
Mhm.
And there are some cool advancements that can help them, but it's really simple. Like eat fresh food grown in amazing soil.
Mhm.
There's your food. Stop processing it and doing all this stuff. And then number two, stop buying things that have chemicals in them. If your
Yeah.
toothpaste is harmful if swallowed, please contact the Poison Control Center. Aren't you poisoning yourself a little bit every time you brush your teeth? Yes. Yes. You're poisoning yourself. If your
Absolutely.
shampoo says sodium lauryl sulfate on it, you are
Right.
putting a known cancer causing carcinogen in your body. I know because when I got back home from the Institute, I went and checked my shampoo. First ingredient, sodium lauryl sulfate. I was giving myself cancer every time I took a shower. I was poisoning myself every time I brushed my teeth. My Glade air freshener is giving me cancer. My carpet is off gassing formaldehyde into my system. I'm embalming myself as I breathe, and my children are breathing. Kids are running up and down the hall. I love carpet. Now I don't. I can't stand it. I don't want to. I don't even like being in homes with carpet. There are solutions for these things besides ripping the carpet out, but
Yeah.
air purification and stuff. But
Right,
it's
and
really
one thing at
simple.
a
This isn't
time.
hard.
Yeah, one thing at a time, and we need to think of this as a lifelong process and not just a quick fix. We've been taught to believe in fast food and quick fixes, and what we need to get back to is a natural way of life that involves the fundamental health principles that God gave us that can lead to a strong immune system now and vibrant health for life. And I think that Tim, some of you've done a lot of work on this, and you've actually looked at some of the supplements and some of the herbs that are some of the most powerful things for helping assist the body's natural God-given abilities to detox. And I remember I was researching detox and I was learning, and I went to our shelf in the store, and I started to read the back of your toxin detox product, and was like blown away because literally everything that I thought I wanted in a detox product was in that. There was milk thistle to support the liver. There was apple pectin, which I learned they used during Chernobyl to help reduce radioactive, toxicity in the people there. There was just zeolite clay, which and your product has more zeolite clay than the ones that are just by themselves, and they're very expensive. So I was just like blown away by how amazing
Well,
this
that's all
product
Dr.
is.
Treadway's genius. That's not me. I was just a stickler trying to find the best of the best. And I found him after about 33 labs. I found his lab, and they actually did Kirlian photography, which measures the energetics or that biophoton potential, that light energy that actually comes from
Right.
not just human beings, but plants. And
Yeah.
so after processing, you want to have products that are expending tremendous amounts of biophoton energy, and ours do.
Mm.
And, we're piggybacking off of 41 years of his sourcing raw materials and his you know, he's a master herbalist in Indian, Chinese, and Western herbology. So that's why that formula was so awesome. And he was so into this stuff, dude. And it was like he was my mentor, my friend, my new father. I mean, he just so many roles. And eventually brother, as I grew up, became a brother in arms, and he really supported me in what I did because I was one of the few people that would never compromise and wouldn't change his formulas.
Mm-hmm.
He formulated for 17, 18 of the top nutrition companies in the world, and they always changed his formulas and dumbed him down, cheapened him up, messed
Yeah.
around with them, and threw them off. So they kind of work a little bit, but then they could keep people there.
Right.
Ours really work, right?
Yeah.
They really do. And we don't. They're going in me, so I'm not going to like compromise anything.
Right.
But that zeolite, that's very, very important stuff for heavy metal reduction.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit, because you have the toxin detox product and the gut detox product, and tell me a little bit about like the best way, because I want to do that protocol, and I know I'm supposed to start
It's
with the gut
easy. It's
detox.
really easy. So I came up with the gut detox protocol product because I noticed that when people were drinking the greens, about maybe 5 to 10% of them were going to get plugged up, because the green starts detoxing people too, and it cleans you from the top down, like you said, going down through that funnel, coming out, at the rear end there.
Right.
And so I called Dr. Treadwell. Actually, I was like, I kind of did my own research. I'm like, oh, people are impacted. They have all this fecal material in there. So, and I found my research. I'm like, oh, they need a magnesium supplement. So I was using one called Colasand, right? But the problem is like it would just go in and turn to oxygen and liquefy everything. And the problem with it was it was like, number one, people are running to the bathroom, having the Hershey squirts like for 5 days.
Right.
But it worked. It got the job done. It unplugged them. But it also took out a lot of that good beneficial microbiome that we were talking about in the soil and in your gut. That's part of your immune system, your first line of defense. So after doing this for a while, I told Dr. Treadway what I was trying to do, and he's like, geez, Tim, that magnesium product's a little rough on the colon. He goes, plus it's really not that great for the gut microbiome. So he goes like, what I would recommend is there's this ancient formula. It's been around 5,000 years. And he's like, it'll go in and gently micro cleanse the intestinal villi. These are hair-like structures that are lining their entire intestinal wall. So all these little hair-like structures create a surface area in your gut the size of about 2 tennis courts. So it's just like a sea of these little hair-like structures, and they pull the nutrients through the intestinal lining into the blood, but they also move the food through you. That peristaltic action, they call it, moves the food through you. Right. And he said this stuff will completely clean it gently, but it won't take out the good bacterium. And I was like, wow, this sounds like a miracle product, but how much is this going to cost me? Right. And he's like, well, you can probably retail it for around $50. And we do. I think we sell it for 49 or 47. Yeah. I was like, really? Yeah. Wow, this is great. Yeah, and so, cool. But that product, it's like 33 side benefits. It's every single, when he studied in India under 2 people, he said it didn't matter what people's health issues were. It didn't matter. Every single person had that gut detox formula. Everybody took it. And he's been taking it for like 40 some years. I've been taking it for like, I don't even know how long now, 9 or something like that. Yeah. So what you do initially is you take 3 in the morning, and 3 at night on an empty stomach with water. Okay. Do the initial detox or cleanse. And then after that, take 3 a day for maintenance, because nobody eats perfectly. And we live in a polluted world, and keep your intestinal villi clean, and it'll do a bunch of other stuff too. It balances the body. There's numerous studies on it being chemoprotective and chemopreventative. I mean, all kinds of studies with that stuff.
Oh, that's cool. So then, would you recommend doing both of them together, or?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So gut detox is really body balancing and gut cleansing focused, keeping the digestive tract clean. Toxin detox was actually developed because Dr. Treadway's because he's a Marine, former Marine, and his friend was went through the barracks or whatever with, he was a medical doctor, ended up becoming an MD at the VA. And he said they were just BSing about stuff. He's like, Scott, that's Scott, Dr. Treadway's name, Scott. He said, Scott, it's really sad. He goes, I got all these kids coming in from Afghanistan, Iraq, and they've got depleted uranium poisoning. They're dying of radiation because of the depleted uranium in the tank rounds that we were shooting and blowing stuff up. And then they're sweeping those areas, they breathe it in. Now, still to this day, there's children over there dying of cancer from those tank rounds. But that's another story. So he goes, I'm just sick about it because the VA will not allow me to diagnose it, nor will they allow me to treat it. And he goes, and if I did, I don't even know how to treat it, but I would try to figure something out. And Scott's like, let me see if I can help you. And so he built these 2 formulas. One was the zeolite, pure zeolite, and then the other one was all these herbs. And he said, give them the zeolite, and have them do that for how many months, depending on how severe they were, and then switch them over to the herbs. And so he told me about this when I found out about the nanosized aluminum particles in the chemtrails. I'm like, dude, I don't want to get Alzheimer's like my grandpa did. We need a solution. He's like, oh, I got the perfect solution for you. He goes, I got these two formulas. And I didn't have the money to build out two formulas. I was going to do one. Every time you launch a product, it's expensive. I said, can you take those two formulas and combine them to one? And he's like, He's like, I never thought of that. Nobody's ever asked me that. Let me go to my lab and work on that. About 4 to 6 months later, he comes out. He's like, I figured it out. He goes, I had to add 4 different herbs to it to balance it out, and now it works long term. That's called toxin detox, and that's the formula that you were like. So that's actually two formulas all in one for radiation, pollution, chemicals, pesticides, fungicides, herbicides, larvicides, chemical fertilizers, glyphosate, all that crap, and heavy metals.
Wow. Yeah. So that is just, like we talked about, this is not just take one product and have all your toxin problems go away. This is about learning the diet and lifestyle tips that are going to help your body, but then using these types of products that can really assist the body's natural processes, right?
Yeah, and help you out, because we really live in a world where our bodies weren't really designed for. But I'm kind of thinking maybe they were, but we do need a little help. The supplements, I was against supplements in the beginning, Blake, but I'm glad I was, because 95+% of them are garbage, total sham, and they don't help people. But when you're on a cliff and you're having issues physically, the supplementation, detoxification can pull you back from that cliff and give your immune system time to heal you.
Oh yeah, absolutely, Tim. It's been such a pleasure. I as you were talking about that, and this has been such a great interview. I kept think of this proverb that is a Native American story about a Indian brave, a young man who was sent on a vision quest, and he went on his vision quest, and he had a vision of a white wolf and a black wolf fighting, and they were fighting over his eternal destiny. And they just fought and fought, and he wrestled all night and tossed and turned and he couldn't sleep. And he ran back the next day to his grandfather, and he met with his grandfather, and he said, "Grandfather, I need to know who wins. I didn't see in my vision who wins. Grandfather, who wins? You have to tell me." And his grandfather looked at him and he said, "Grandson, it's the one you feed." And so this is a principle that's not only true for your physical health, but your mental health and your spiritual health. And so we just want to encourage you to put into your mind, body, soul, things that will nourish you and help you to have vibrant health and help you to love and serve people, to be the full potential of who you were created to be. As Tim so wonderfully says, heal yourself, heal your world, change yourself, change your world. And I just want to encourage you guys that, small habits lead to big change. So invest in yourself, because you are worth it. Tim, thank you so much. I love you, brother.
Appreciate having me on. And I just have to in closing, I have to say this, is that for those people that are out there that are struggling on the inside, they're feeling emotionally down, they're feeling body shame, because I was there with my skin issues and my big belly and all that, and they feel stuck. Like, the information that we poured into you today is part of the way out for you. This is hopefully cracking the door open so you can have a pathway to go to, because you can heal. I guarantee you, if this it has to make sense to you. You are polluted. Your cells are polluted. You're eating garbage processed foods. This is why you're struggling. And with all those addictive chemicals they put in there, they make you go crazy. Like, you have to have this stuff. And then because of the breakdown of the body, the parasites and all these things are taking over, they're hijacking your brain too. So there is a way out. And the way out is you loving yourself and creating a new lifestyle that supports a natural daily detoxification and nutrification of the body. And by doing this, the more and more you pour that love into yourself, the more the universe and God will reflect that back to you. And it's not always going to be a smooth ride, especially in the beginning when you're starting this stuff. That's why it's a good idea to join Blake's challenge down at Nature's Pantry, where there's a group to help you. And we're here to help you. And you can always call in and talk to Blake, or call my team at support@chemicalfreebody.com. gmail.com. We're here to help you. So I just want to say that because there is a way out, and the answer is you. We're where you are at now. Maybe we've gone through that gauntlet, so we can show you. I'm nobody special. Believe me, I grew up literally on a dirt road, redneck out here. I don't know a whole lot of stuff, and I just got really sick. And luckily, my friend got cancer. I got turned on to this stuff for a couple weeks at an institute where they educated me and blew my mind because I felt better after a week than I'd ever felt in like 20 years. And I've never stopped questioning things. And I feel so good now at age 51. I mean, I ran the Mara Loop a little bit more. We did 7.2 miles with my son all over the place. I'm 51 years old. How many 51-year-olds can do that?
Yeah.
Not a whole lot. Why not? Every 51-year-old should be doing this type of stuff. This should be normal. This should not be some weird deal.
For sure.
Right. So I don't, being healthy is normal. And if being unhealthy is not normal, let's get you back to what you normally should be. So anyway, that's it. And I just a lot of love for everybody. And I hope that this inspires people to just start taking some baby steps.
Absolutely. Well, love y'all. God bless y'all. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Thanks, Tim. See you, buddy.
Thank you.
The information provided in this show is intended for your general knowledge only and is not medical advice. If you have or suspect you have a specific medical condition or disease, please consult your healthcare provider. If your provider has a strong understanding of nutrition and holistic health, even better. The opinions expressed on this show are those of the host and the guest and do not necessarily reflect the views of Nature's Pantry.